Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as always. Nice to have you back on the channel. I'm Sterling. It's wonderful to start off the new year with everybody. This show is being recorded for Sunday, January 8th, 2023. Took a little time off, but it's good to be back with everybody. We did put out predictions that deployed on the channel January 1st, 2023. But wonderful to be back kind of in kind of the effort that we have ongoing throughout the year and answering a lot of questions from our community board. So I want to go through, this is kind of a long show. I think we had 60 questions we're going to go through based on 500 questions on the community board. And my wife does go through them, tries to select a great selection of questions that have not been answered before, or if questions come up all the time, she does try to bring those up occasionally. She also wanted me to mention that there was such a large group of questions, good questions, this week, that many of them will be adapted and, let's say, to the show next week. So if you don't resubmit a question next week, I know a lot of questions may get used from the questions that were put out for this show. So thanks for everybody's wonderful support. Greatly appreciated. If you need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the Book a Session tab. It's very easy. Those that watch the channel all the time know that we're running a contest. Every time we reach a new level of 1,000 subscribers, we give away a free half-hour session with myself. And while we were off, kind of for the holiday season, we crossed over the 33,000 subscriber mark and the 34,000 subscriber mark. So thank you very much for all the participation. But we're going to announce the two winners of the half-hour session with myself. So at the 33,000 level, the winner of the free half-hour session, and this is from the Christmas December 25th show, is Thomas Crutchfield or Crutchfeld. So Thomas, congratulations. And then the winner at the 34,000 level for the show that prediction show from January 1st is Sarah Ann. So Thomas Crutchfield and Sarah Ann, just shoot a quick email to our office team, info@sterlingpsychicmedium.com, and the office team will get you all set up with your free half-hour session. So congratulations to Thomas and to Sarah. It's wonderful, wonderful. A real quick thing, if just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. All those things really help the channel. And there's no charge, no fee for subscribing or hitting the like button. But it does really help where these shows land kind of on the homepage for YouTube. In addition, I want to give a quick footnote. There was a lot of activity last night or January 6th going into January 7th, all about the electing the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. And I just want to give a quick footnote that each time that I discuss certain predictions on my show or the shows I do with Linda Grindle, the Comanche Psychic, very often what we try to do is go back to then when news articles break or news stories break, and then draw the correlation from the actual news event to where the prediction occurred. So actually, we did put out a hot off the press relative to Kevin McCarthy getting the speakership. And I did a reference here from two different shows. I think it was December 4th and December 18th shows of 2022 I did with Linda Grindle. So you can see that up on the community board. So hopefully that's helpful. And, you know, these hot off the presses, will continue to do them as much as we can stay on top of it. But what we're really trying to do is show the correlation between real, say psychic mediumship information flow and how it actually lines up with timing and real events in the world, so that that it really the messaging should be that we're all born psychic mediums. We all have the gift. We can all listen to our intuition. We can all tap into that universal communication flow. So there's rhyme or reason to all of it. So with no further ado, let's get into the top 60 countdown. And we always try to start off with a mediumship. This week, we had a lot of requests for Barbara Walters, and just a wonderful individual broadcaster, journalist, really, a thought leader in a lot of areas around the world and successful producer of a number of shows. But she just passed away December 30th, 2022. And I did take some time to communicate with her this morning. And as always, I like to scribe down exactly what they say, and I'm going to share that with you right now. So number 60 in the countdown is, does Barbara Walters have a message for us? Remember, in the world, the definition of success is not fame and fortune, but it is the way you affect change and growth in humanity. I met with many famous and successful individuals throughout my lifetime, but I came to realize the most successful people in the world were names you never heard of. We are all given gifts, and it is the way we use these gifts to help others that creates the long-term enrichment of our lives. I struggled with family issues in my life, as many of you have, and I can tell you that ego gets in the way of what we really want to say to the ones we love around us. I also realized that the concept of family is much larger than the human sense we have. We all have a myriad of extended family members that love and care for each one of us now and when we cross over. Respect everyone in your life, regardless of race, creed, color, sexual orientation, and any other human factor. I am sending love and light to everyone on the planet, and now fully enjoy the time I can spend with those on the other side right now. Thank you for all of the kindness and respect you all showed to me during my lifetime. Wonderful message from Barbara Walters, and really a pleasure. Very, in some respects, a very evolved spirit now on the other side as she crossed over. But I really thought that was a thoughtful message in regards to humanity, love, ego, that fame and fortune is certainly much different as you look at it from the other side. And really some of the most contributing people to humanity, in many cases, are people you've never heard of. So a wonderful message from her. Okay, now I'm moving to question 59. And I think it's important as a footnote, I want to just emphasize here that all the information I share with you is for entertainment purposes only and comes directly through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history. So for entertainment purposes only. So now continuing with 59 in our countdown. Now that Jack Smith has returned to the US, will 45 be indicted soon? Yes, very shortly. I get within just a few weeks, very shortly here. 58 in the countdown. Will this next session of Congress accomplish anything positive? Well, I get the Senate is going to move forward on some great legislation around immigration and gun control and the economy and infrastructure. It's going to get fought a great deal in the House, as you can appreciate. But it does look like they're going to get through a fair percentage. I say a fair percentage, maybe 1/3 of the things that come up in the Senate. It's going to be a fight, it'll be a struggle, but I do see some positive legislation and even budgets being passed. 57. Hello, Sterling and team. There's a special election in the state of Virginia very soon for a replacement of a congressman who recently passed away. Will the Democratic candidate win? And this is for the state of Virginia. Looks to me like they're telling me it'll be a Democratic woman that will win the seat. 56. Hi, Sterling and team. I read that Brazil may want to extradite George Santos on fraud charges stemming from a 2008 case. What do you see coming for him? For entertainment purposes only, it looks to me like there is some extradition that's going to happen with Brazil, but it's not for a good 12 to 24 months out. So it's nothing soon. But it does look some other litigation coming out of the state of New York that may affect Mr. Santos here. 55. Hello, Sterling. When will there be an alternative, less invasive procedure to knee replacement? Looks like within 15 years, but the solution that's coming up in 15 years looks like an injectable solution, but it's almost like rebuilding bone. So it's like rebuilding knee and bone and cartilage. So it's not an injection, let's say, just for pain. It's actually reconstructing the knee. And it looks like in 15 years, they're going to start using it very aggressively. 54, will the Artemis mission go as planned? So the Artemis mission, this is a long-term mission for NASA, if I remember correctly, and it will successfully put men and women on the moon and be a base there, and the successful building of what I'm going to call a way station, or a station that will be used, or a base, so that you can expedite, let's say, travel to Mars and other planets. So it will be successful in its mission. It's going to take years to a decade to get all this established, but overall it will be successful. 53. Greetings, Sterling and teams, earthly and spiritual. I have a question about your guides and your relationship with them. Have your guides remained the same over the years you've consulted with them? Has your relationship with them evolved or changed over time? Do you receive messages from different individual energies, or is it coming to you as a single source messenger? Did you have to learn how to understand, interpret info messages as shown or given to you? So there's a lot of questions in there. But I can tell you that the way I interact with my team, right now they're in the thousands, angels and guides and famous people from histories, even ETs. But they communicate almost like I'm sitting around in a large conference room. So they communicate just the way you and I are talking or communicating right now. I don't have to interpret messages. I wouldn't say the messaging evolved. The quantity of angels and guides has evolved over the years as I work with them more and more. So larger groups bring in information. They don't always communicate with one voice. No, it's like talking with individual guides or angels or archangels or ascended masters. Every once in a while, they may come across in a unified way if it's a universal message for everybody that we're talking to right now, everybody that's on the channel. And yes, you talk with a one source, one force. Now, everybody can do this. Everybody can learn to do this. So this is, my gift started off in a way that was very easy for me to communicate. And for those that follow the channel know that I used it in business quite a bit before I kind of, branched out and started using it more in a general sense for a larger public. But hopefully that helps. That was a lot of questions buried in one, and I tried to address all of them. 52, when someone has dementia, has their soul checked out early, so to speak, into the higher realm? And will there be a cure for all types of dementia in the future? Well, first off, within a decade, there's going to be some good CRISPR technology to help address dementia. When someone's going through dementia, yes, figuratively speaking, it's like having one foot in the other side. So they actually can start to communicate with family members and their angels and guides a little bit easier. And every once in a while, if you observe somebody with dementia, it may look like they're talking with somebody on the other side. So that's all very true. 51, hi Sterling, you've said that those who have passed over come to us instantly when we think about them. How does that work for famous people who have many thousands thinking of them on any given day? Well, the heaven dimension moves faster than the speed of light. And to give you an idea, the speed of light is something like 299 million meters per second, or something like almost 600 million miles per hour. If I remember the facts right, not to get too technical. Einstein defined the speed of light as the letter C in all his equations. But things move faster than the speed of light. Individual linear transactions, like communicating with people on Earth, you're talking about things that are, quadrillion, many times trillion transactions a second. So, if you get up to, remember the math, quadrillion, I think Google is a number that's 10 to the exponent of 100. Not to get too technical, but anyway, things are moving so fast on the other side. It's very easy for individuals to communicate in what looks like, a very linear sense here, but they're moving in a very non-linear environment faster than the speed of light. Hopefully that helps. 50, will you please tell me why it is necessary to repeatedly ask for white light protection? Does it weaken? Why can't one ask for a lifetime of protection? That would be too easy. So this is all part of our learning process. It's almost like staying in the classroom and reminding yourself of what's important. So the continual protection, the universe could obviously provide you with protection. We all have birth angels and guides, and birth angels won't let you exit if it's not your exit point. But, as part of kind of the being in school process, you always have to kind of continually remind yourself of working to the highest level of good and So, the simple prayer protection is really just more of a, it's almost like doing calisthenics every day. So it's part of the school process, part of the learning, and that's why it's laid out that way. 49, the pineal gland in our brain produces melatonin for cardiac rhythms and sleep cycles. Does it assist us in ways that science may not fully appreciate at this time? Well, yeah, the pineal gland gets a lot of attention because it kind of allows the mind to decouple the logical mind from the spiritual sense and your higher self and your spiritual self, all one and the same. But it actually, when you start communicating with the other side, it engulfs your entire body, your entire spiritual self. So it's almost like standing in like a cone of silence, so to speak. The pineal gland is kind of a trigger and helps in that area. But once you fully start communicating, you're standing in the full energy of communication. So yes, I would say from a science standpoint, not all scientists understand this. Although I've seen some advanced research at many universities where they're studying this type of phenomenon, psychic mediumship phenomenon, and they're running testing, and they are making progress in this area. So more to be learned by scientists, but it is an important gland in kind of starting that journey, if you will, towards full communication with the other side. 48, hi Sterling and team. You talk a lot about CRISPR technology and gene editing. Recently, the news reported that a family needed to pay over $3 million just to take medicine developed with CRISPR technology to address a rare medical problem. Will the CRISPR technology success be finally feasible for the average person who needs the medication? Yes, and we address this all the time on this channel. So like any advanced technology or medical discipline, the costs are very high in developing these medications, these solutions. So it's going to take time for things to come down the cost curve. You can look for a tremendous number of CRISPR developments around all sorts of ailments for humanity to be deployed over the next 10 to 20 years. But the cost will come down as the manufacturers of these, there's hundreds of manufacturers working on CRISPR technology right now, and hundreds of companies, actually in the thousands. And the cost will come down the cost curve like anything else. It will. 47, hi Sterling. Oh, by the way, my team's telling me to draw a parallel example here. It's almost like when you start looking at artificial organs or artificial hearts in the very beginning, millions of dollars. So everything does come down the cost curve. But my team was kind of drawing a parallel to artificial hearts for some reason when they first came out. 47, hi Sterling. My question is, will there be a better contraceptive method in the future for women that does not have as many side effects? Yes. Major contraceptive advances for both women and men. So there's some new ones that are coming that will be not as invasive on the human condition, available for both women and men. And it looks to me like it's like a 5-year time frame here. It's like within 5 years, I see it coming out for testing. So it's coming for both men and women, contraception. 46, the Great Salt Lake in Utah is drying up due to the drought. And ecologists say it is having a negative effect on the ecosystem as well as the health of those people living in the area. How many years will it take to dry up completely? And will it be as dry or dire as the scientists are predicting? Well, my team's telling me that it's maybe 1/3 depleted. And so it's going to take decades to turn this around. But this is all part of a global warming problem. So I'm getting it's about 1/3 depleted, not going to dry up completely. A lot of good green technology and new, a global warming technology coming up that's going to help reverse the effects of global warming. So hopefully that helps. It's, I guess maybe it's not as dire as people think, not going to dry up completely. 45, will fusion energy ever be able I'm sorry, I'll start again. 45, will fusion energy ever be available in vehicles to get away from fossil fuels? Yes, but for fusion energy, which is a form of nuclear energy, it's 50 years away for commercial vehicles. Now, fusion technology for power plants is within a decade to 2 decades here, have some major breakthroughs. Remember, fusion technology right now, this is a technology that has to do with the combining of atoms rather than the separation of molecules, which is what's currently used right now. It's called fission nuclear technology for nuclear power plants. So fusion technology, this technology that burns at multiple times the temperature of the sun. It's going to be a good 50 years before we start to get to something that could be commercially available in vehicles. I think that was the question here. Yeah. By the way, a lot of good solar power technology, battery technology coming in the next few years here for electric vehicles. So that'll also help move the entire industry away from petroleum. Okay, 44 in the countdown. Will there be a new medical treatment of hernias in the future that does not require using a mesh? Yes, within a decade, and they're telling me it's like 10 to 12 years out from where we are right now, but it'll be a form of laser surgery. So there's something about laser surgery here being used to correct the hernia condition. So it's still an operation, but won't have to use the mesh, they're telling me. 43, how large were the giants of ancient times really, and were they human? So they were a form of what I call human hybrid. So that means that they were part extraterrestrial, part human, biological. Being told that some of them were as tall as 30 feet tall, but most of them were 15 to 25 feet tall. And as time went on, they actually reduced in size. So they actually started out as giants, and as time went on and evolution went on, they reduced in size. And it looks to me like there were actually, there have been bones that have been excavated to prove a lot of this. 42, will they have a cure soon for back pain, sciatica, etc., that doesn't involve drugs? Here again, another laser surgery coming up within about a decade. But this will be laser surgery guided by artificial intelligence. So using artificial intelligence technology to take in, billions of pieces of information about a patient and cell structure and where things are. So there's an integration of artificial intelligence with laser surgery that will be very effective for this, starting in about 10 years. 41, will there be any help for people suffering from MDDS, a rare ailment that causes debilitating rocking and weaving sensations? There is currently no effective treatment. Interesting. Here again, this is where there's some breakthrough in about a decade to 12 years here involving laser surgery and artificial intelligence. So this looks like it'll be more surgery, neurological or brain surgery. So the scientific developments are going to be used in many areas of the body, but looks like it will also be used for people suffering from what they call MDDS. Okay. 40, can you briefly explain ley lines? Sure. So the Earth has a lot of what I call magnetic centers. Now, a lot of people are familiar with magnetic poles in the Earth, but there are many areas around the Earth, in fact, on other planets, but there are magnetic energy centers. And if you think about a magnet, magnets have a north and a south pole. They're what they call magnetic field lines that run from pole to pole. So if you think about a lot of the magnetic pole centers on the Earth, not to be confused with the ones that are, northern and southern, but there are a lot of very specific areas around Earth that are magnetic energy centers. There are magnetic field lines that run between these magnetic energy centers, and people refer to those as ley lines. Now, if you look at ancient history, a lot of very important monuments, like Stonehenge and the pyramids, they were built around these magnetic energy centers, and you can look at ley lines that connect these important monuments. So briefly speaking, ley lines are really what are kind of like magnetic field lines connecting large magnetic field energy centers on the Earth. 39, do cell phone apps such as Ghost Radar Legacy app really allow spirits to communicate with us, or are they unsafe and act more like a Ouija or spirit boards? Well, all energy, we're all energy, and spirits are energy. And yes, some of these devices can pick up information from the other side, just like human beings can. So I won't tell you that they're unsafe, but what happens is they're not very regulated. But what I mean by that is they'll attract prankster spirits as well as regular spirits. So, I think they're fun devices. I certainly don't use one. But I'd be a little careful how you use it because you will attract prankster spirits as well as regular spirits. 38. My question is about the mysterious remote island megalithic site located in Micronesia, known as Nan Madol, looks like. Can your guides please tell us anything about this incredible place and perhaps confirm the connection to Atlantis? I don't get any connection to Atlantis per se, although it looks like it's very similar in terms of like a magnificent city, civilization. I don't get any direct connection to Atlantis. So I'm going to call it another wonder of the world. Let's call it that. So it looks like they had some real problems, some sort of earthly force here, tsunami, earthquake, or whatnot that took away this particular wonder of the world. So just another somewhat similar city, if you will, to Atlantis, but no direct connection. In fact, my team saw it looks like it was even a different time period as well. 37. Hi, Sterling and your wife, Linda. Happy New Year. Top scientists are addressing new COVID variant from the US titled XBB.1.5 that is strong and escaping vaccines. Are you concerned? Well, for entertainment purposes only, let me put it this way. For all of last year, my team was talking about the surge or another kind of important variants coming up at the end of last year. So they're here now, some are coming from China. I do get that there'll be vaccines to address these within a few months. So I'm going to tell you, it could be as long as 6 months, might be 5 months, but there will be vaccines coming up. So I would just tell everybody, be diligent. Be respectful of these new variants. I know in a lot of parts of the world, people are getting very bold and kind of going out and not being careful. So it's a good idea to take hand sanitizer, wear a mask, KN95. Again, not a doctor, just so you know, it's entertainment purposes only. But I would say that my level of concern has more to do with being careful now, respecting the new variants. And then it looks like there will be new vaccines coming up for those that want to partake in a vaccine. We endorse nothing on this channel, but for those that want it, there'll be a vaccine available. 36, will there be any advances in anti-aging treatments in the near future? New organic serums for external, let's say anti-aging, if you will, within 5 years. And then within 2 decades, there's going to be new CRISPR technology for what I'm going to call fighting or doing anti-aging internally for organs, like restoring the health of lungs, heart, organs. So it's kind of a two-part answer to this question, kind of an external anti-aging and an internal anti-aging answer. 35, I've seen spirits since I was 10 years old, but only in a flash or a split second. This is seeing with my eyes opened. I can see them longer with my third eye. Why do I only see them for a short period of time? This person saying, I see spirits since I was 10 years old, but only a flash or a split second. Well, this has everything to do with like level of skill and development. So there are certain exercises you can do. Really can't go into them here, but this really has to do with kind of readdressing and developing that skill again. You have the skill, we all have it. You had it a little bit easier, they say here, starting at 10 years old. A lot of children have the full capability up to about 6 or 7 years old, but it's really redeveloping that skill. So that's the reason you have to work on it. 34. Hi, Sterling. My question is simple. Is there such a thing as luck? So my team always describes luck as the intersection of how you apply free will to your life path blueprint. I know other people have said, that luck has to do with a lot of, sweat equity and being at the right place at the right time, which kind of correlates to how you move through your life with free will and address your life path. Now, you never get off your life path, but free will has everything to do with how fast you accelerate through your life path, and the scale of achievement and the completeness of achievement. So in one form, luck, if you're moving aggressively through your life path and you have a lot of scale of achievement, some people might consider that luck. But really, luck is really how the free will intersects with your life path blueprint. 33, I've been dealing with female benevolent energy in my parents' home ever since I can remember. What can I do to remove her from our home? All the grandkids and great grandkids dislike staying at the home because of her. They all see and feel her. Kindly ask her to leave. All benevolent spirits and spirits for that matter will respect a request. Looks like something, you might engage some other psychic medium to help you with that. But they will respect the request for them to leave, especially if you articulate that you're scaring the family and making it very uncomfortable. So maybe a little more diligence in that area, or get a psychic medium that you respect. Maybe come into the home. It's not kind of an exorcism. It's just asking them to kindly kind of step aside. Don't scare the family anymore. Okay, 32 on the countdown. In 1989, Eileen Michaloff was 13. She disappeared from Dublin, California. Her murder was never solved. Will we ever find out what happened to her? 1989, Eileen Michaloff. My team's telling me she was abducted from a park area. The abductee was a male, looks like in his 50s. Looks like the individual is no longer on the planet, so has since passed. But I'm also being told something interesting here. It looks like there's a deathbed confession coming up from a relative to this person. And it looks like a female to me, so this could be a sister or some other relative of this individual, the man that abducted. So my answer is, my team's telling me that this will be solved. It looks like within about 2 years, and it's going to be a bit of a deathbed confession from a relative where they actually bring this information forward to the police. Interestingly enough, I think they may even discover where she was placed. Unfortunately, I sing out a lot of love and light to the family of Eileen here. And it was a terrible thing to go through, but my team's telling me it's going to be solved. So really, I wish the family a lot of love and light here. And these are always difficult situations. Absolutely. 31, hi Sterling. When the ETs do their various surgeries on cattle, what we call mutilations, do they employ pain-killing methods first? Do they somehow comfort the cattle so they do not experience fear and terror before they are taken in and abducted? Well, my team's always told me that the cattle, when they're abducted, they're put into a trance state, so they actually don't feel pain. I mean, it's unfortunate, but this is all part of what I'm going to call biological testing and harvesting by ETs, been going on for millions of years. So they're put into a trance state, no pain there, and then they are deposited back down to earth. I know it's terrible, and every chance I get to communicate with ETs, I try to push the fact that they really need to kind of handle this differently. That's really one thing I don't think they handle well, and I call them out on it. 30, who are the men in black? Well, it's come up before. They are high-level government officials for entertainment purposes only. They actually, some of them are human, some of them are extraterrestrial, and they're here to guard extraterrestrial secrets for the time being. So some are alien, extraterrestrial, some are human. They exist at a level of government that's actually above the presidency. Some may be surprised to hear that, but not all levels of government, and certainly even not all presidents, are privy to the information in this area. So Men in Black is an organization that is part of the government, a very high level, and they're here to guard those secrets for the safety of a lot of humanity. 29, do your team see the UK, United Kingdom, rejoining the European Union, and this be the key to their economic recovery? You know, it's interesting. I do see a lot of discussion, and then it looks like within 5 years, the UK rejoin the EU. I do see it. May surprise some people, but there will be a number of things that will lead to an economic recovery of the UK. But anyway, down the road, looks like within 5 years, they're going to rejoin. 28. Hi, Sterling. Very much appreciate your show. While listening to your predictions for 2023, number 20, major UFO sighting by millions over the Pacific, it triggered a memory for me while driving back from Pullman, Washington in the early 1970s with a friend of mine. At 3 o'clock a.m., the lights went out in his car, and I think missing time was also involved. Were we abducted, or just a dim memory or overactive imagination? Whoever asked this question, it's coming across to me as overactive imagination. It wasn't an abduction, no. And it doesn't appear to be even a UFO event, no. 27. Do you see where the Idaho 4 killer put the murder weapon? Yes. And I've read on this a number of times before. The weapon is in a body of water not that far from the crime scene. So it looks like within a few miles, some sort of a body of water. Could be a river, but it's a body of water. And I do believe that some dive teams are going to find it. Yes. 26. Will Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson leave Fox News in 2023? Looks that way to me, due to poor ratings and economic conditions. So, the decision by the networks being driven by economic reasons, due to popularity, a lot of things going on in government. So, for entertainment purposes only, it looks like they'll be leaving the network in 2023. 25. Yesterday, New Year's Day, I had to say goodbye to my 10-year-old dog, Bear. Very unfortunate. I got him as a rescue 3 years ago, and he was the joy and light of my life. On New Year's Eve, he suddenly became very ill. I took him to the emergency vet hospital. They said it was very serious, and there was nothing more they could do. So I had to make a very difficult decision. One of the last things I told Bear was that if he could, please come to me in a dream and let me know he's all right. Just before I woke this morning, I dreamt I was getting out of bed and walking to the door. As I looked down, I saw Bear rush by to get ahead of me, which he always did. Part of me thinks it may be the power of suggestion that I dreamt it. Or did Bear really come to me to let me know he's okay? So this is absolutely Bear coming to you as requested. He loves you a great deal. This is Bear coming to you as a real confirmation. And take this information coming from my team as the real confirmation. I'm getting a cold chill right now. Bear loves you. He's still around you, and this is a real confirmation from him. 24. Hi, Sterling. Many people go to sleep wearing headphones, listening to positive affirmations. Does this really have benefits on our subconscious mind? All depends on the content and the person. So remember, when you go to sleep, you decouple your logical mind from your higher level self. So there's two factors here my team's telling me. One is how well somebody decouples their logical mind during sleep. And the second is the type of content. But yes, it can be helpful in relaxation and maintaining and gaining new knowledge, information. But I think the question was, affirmations really help. It does help. It is another tool that you can use to help center yourself and ground yourself. So yes, it has a beneficial effect. 23. Hi, Sterling. My daughter was buying one item at a dollar store, and a shabbily dressed man behind her had several items. She asked if he wanted to go in front of her. He then told her good things are going to happen for you. Then he asked her if he could shake her hand and put $100 bill. Then he asked her if he could shake her hand, and he then put $100 bill in her hand. As soon as she checked out, she looked for him in the parking lot and couldn't find him. He literally disappeared. Who was this, or who was he? This is what I call an earth angel. So it's a real person, but we all have a life path purpose. So this is a higher level individual, what I call an earth angel, that goes around looking for ways to inspire, help, motivate, and bless people. So you ran into what they call an earth angel. Absolutely. By the way, my team is telling me to remind people, these earth angels, they have a very specific mission on earth. And part of it is what you witnessed there. 22, Sterling, I sometimes wake up to see a small ball, a tiny beam of blue-white light in my bedroom, at a ceiling light. At first, I thought it was my smoke detector, but it isn't. Any thoughts? Is it of a friendly nature? Yeah, I get this is a recently deceased family member, and it's got a very motherly energy to it. So I can't tell if this is a mother or a grandmother because we have no name here. But it does. This is a very friendly family member, and it's a motherly energy. Try and connect with you. 21, hi Sterling and team. Why do extraterrestrials do testing on animals, then dump their bodies back to Earth? I think we started talking about a little bit of this earlier in the show, but this is all about biological harvesting of material for hybrids for extraterrestrials and testing. And so they deposit them back to Earth because they're done with the biological testing. And as I said before, I've asked my ET team to take a look at that and kind of handle that much better. Have a lot of things extraterrestrials get involved in. That's one thing that I think is a little unnerving. So anyway, yeah, it's all about testing and biological harvesting for material. 20, hi Sterling. I've worked in radiology for 23 years. I was wondering what advancements your guides can tell us about that will happen in this field. Will we ever get away from using ionizing radiation to visualize bones? Yes, actually, this is going to be ET delivered technology within 15 years, but it's going to be ultrasound, ultrasonic technology. They'll be non-invasive. So very advanced ultrasound, ultrasonic technology that will give very clear, crisp, even color imagery in great detail. So it's coming. 19, hi Sterling. My question is, will the rain and snow this year in California get us out of the drought? Well, no, not the Western drought, which involves many states. It's all based on a drought condition involving all those states in the Colorado River. So we got another 4 years to go before the whole westernized drought is going to get affected, and certainly California is affected by that as well. So it's not going to pull us out for another 4 years. Hi, Sterling. Happy New Year to you and your guides. How do animals communicate with each other? Birds have calls, dogs bark, and cats meow. But do they share telepathy between species or within species? Are some animals more telepathic than others, like dogs? Also, do parrots know the meaning of what they're saying? Well, yes, all animals can communicate telepathically, and they do. A lot of the sounds they make are actually to communicate not just with themselves and other animals, but with people. So they're the kind of signs or triggers for people. But all animals do communicate telepathically. And there are many higher level intelligent animals on the planet, not just dogs and other types of mammals like dolphins, but even jellyfish, highly intelligent. So yeah, they do communicate telepathically. Okay, 17 on the countdown. Hi, Sterling. Love the show. During an x-ray on my foot, the doctor noticed there was a small piece of metal. Do extraterrestrials keep track of us in this way? And if so, what kind of tracking are they doing? Well, I don't get this particular individual has an implant, but a lot of extraterrestrial groups do use implants. You'll find them around earlobes, parts of the ear, wrist area, around the thumb, fingers, even some in the forearm. But they do use this to transmit information and for tracking purposes. Now, when these x-rays are done, you actually can see a lot of finite detail. I mean, these are very advanced. This is not just a simple piece of metal. Sometimes they look like microcircuits or integrated circuits. So this individual asking the question, I don't get that you have a particular implant from an ET, but they are very common among extraterrestrial groups. Okay, 60 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling. Is there a hierarchy amongst angels and guides, spirit guides, helper guides, birth angels, guardian angels, archangels, and ascended masters? Are individual spirit teams comprised of beings from each group? Well, yes to all of the questions here being asked. There is a real hierarchy to archangels and ascended masters, and they stand at some of the highest levels next to the one source, the one force. We all have a number of birth angels and spiritual working guides with us. Birth angels come out of some of the 8 houses of the archangels, and there's trillions of birth angels. They get assigned to us for life to keep us on the planet. And then there are working spiritual guides, and many times these are individuals that are very evolved spirits down here many times, reincarnated many times, and they've risen to a level of expertise to be our working spiritual guides. So there's a hierarchy of levels and how they ascend, and when they reincarnate, what they come back and do or don't do. And I think it's important that through spiritual work, we can access many of these levels. In fact, if not all of these levels, this good spiritual work, it does take practice working with your team. I always find that the teams that work with us the closest are birth angels and working spiritual guides. In many ways can form what I call kind of mentors for us, or they help usher in some of the higher level communication. It's not required, but they're there to help you facilitate other communication. So there's a hierarchy, and we can communicate actually with the entire hierarchy. 15, Sterling, I have been following the investigation and arrest of the man in the Idaho 4 slayings of the 4 students. Will he be linked to other crimes? Yes, he will. But my team's telling me it does not look like other murders. There'll be other crimes. It does not look like other murders to me. 14, hello, Sterling. Can you see what actually caused the girls in Salem to have fits, thus leading to the infamous Salem witch trials? Contaminated food. So something contaminating the food, fungus causing problems and causing nervous system problems. 13, happy 2023, Sterling and Linda. A couple of nights ago, my son was walking down the hallway in the middle of the night, and as he passed my door, he saw that I was surrounded by white smoke as I was sleeping. It was only around my side of the bed. What was happening? I get this was part of your extended spiritual team, some angels and guides trying to communicate with you or communicating with you. And so he witnessed that kind of in the visual state. 12, hi, Sterling and team. Can you tell us if the food we eat affects our spiritual development? For example, do you stagnate your spiritual awakening by eating animal protein? Well, no, my team tells me that good generic health is important to everything we do. But characteristically, if you're a junk food eater, that's not going to stop you from communicating necessarily, let's say, from the other side. So good health is important. But it's not necessarily linked directly to whether you take an animal proteins or too many carbohydrates or sugars. That's important to good health. And when you're in good health, you can certainly have more energy and be grounded and be centered better. So it gets back to good health and balance. But certainly maybe some of the worst eaters on the planet, let's say, you can still communicate with your team. 11, is listening to binaural beats like alpha waves and theta frequencies helpful for being able to tune into spirit? Well, here again, these help create better balance and stability and help you center better. So these are contributory and helpful, but not required. I always tell everybody you can actually work to communicate with your team in real time without meditation or anything else. It's like kind of practicing, like being a good musician. You practice and practice, you get to a point where you really develop the expertise. So these things are helpful, but not required. So these are all helpful tools. I'll put them in that category. 10, Happy New Year, Sterling. There is an old chapel near Santa Fe, New Mexico called, and I'll try to pronounce this, Santuario de Chimeo, I think it is, where hundreds of people claim to have received healings from the soil. Do you have a sense of what may be happening here and the beings involved? So we were talking about this earlier on the show. This is one of many very large magnetic energy field centers. So it's not related to the chapel. I think they called it out, or chapel. Yeah, chapel. Not a chapel, but it's a magnetic field center. It looks like many people experiencing healing in this area has more to do with the Earth's energy than actual entities around there. Well, my team's reminding me that a lot of times angels and guides will come around that area because a lot of people are there for a type of healing. So they're attracted to the energy center, and it puts their bodies in a great state of healing. And so altogether, there's a lot of synergy going on in this area, but it's not related directly just to the chapel, because they're telling me like millions of years, this is a helpful healing area. 9, hello, Sterling. Though my question is personal, others may have the same dilemma. Okay. I've tried for years to help my daughter claim her own power, but she falls back into her unhealthy, complicated relationship with her father, who I divorced many years ago. Whatever I do to raise her frequency to joy, love, and light gets sabotaged when she gets around her father. She's turned to self-medicating to manage that and has severe anxiety. Do your guides have any suggestions or whatever I can do to help her? So, what's at the core of this? I see this with a lot of family members, but my team's telling me to emphasize the fact that we all, including your daughter, needs to get back to a place of self-love and taking back her personal power. There are sometimes people might need to start out with good life coaching books. There's a lot on the market. I'll throw out a sample here. There's an author named Mike Bayer. There's a lot of life coaching books. And you might check into some of those. But you need something to kind of crack the door open that helps move people back towards grabbing their personal power, getting back to a place of self-love. So I would tell you to start there. It's a process. I feel your daughter's going to get through it. And I find many people, as they're going through life cycles, as they get into the next new life cycle, they start to make that journey of, let's say, recovery and get back to a place of better healing and stability. So remember, we choose our parents before we come down. This is all part of our life path blueprint lesson. So some of this are lessons that your daughter came down to experience. So hopefully that helps, kind of a larger context for the answer, but hopefully that helps. Okay, number 8 on our countdown. Happy New Year, Sterling. My question is, do talents like singing carry over for each lifetime? Or can you request a lifetime where you have a great singing voice? I ask because I've always had the dream of singing on stage, but cannot carry a tune to save my life. Well, yes, it's all part of your spiritual DNA, not to be confused with your physical DNA, but certainly if you've been a singer in a prior lifetime, you can bring forth those happy memories. And if you put being a singer on your life path blueprint, you certainly can be a singer here. So it's all related to what you asked for and placed on your blueprint. 7, hello, Sterling and team. A neighbor of mine has been looking for her Aussie dog. His name is Bear for 3 months now. Can you tell me if he is still with us, with someone else, or has he crossed over? Interesting, another dog here named Bear. I'm getting this particular Aussie dog was adopted from a shelter that's a few miles away. So it looks like there may be a way to track this down, but looks like the dog is still alive. The dog named Bear, I think it is, right? Named Bear. And adopted from a shelter within a few miles. So I would tell this person, start searching for shelters within a few miles of where you are. And I think you're going to be able to come up with a path to where Bear is. 6, hi, Sterling and team. Can you see if there will ever be a cure for the autoimmune disease Hashimoto's thyroiditis? Within 10 years, using CRISPR technology, but it looks like CRISPR technology development is coming out of Europe, not the US, they're telling me. 5, happy New Year, Sterling. Many people are saying that there is a shift in consciousness coming. A much more benevolent energy will operate from now on. But I've noticed some people are more aggressive than before. Is it so? What do your guides say about the current future energies on Earth? Well, the entire shift in consciousness or awareness, I'm going to call it, you can use the terms interchangeably, it's a period of 2020 to 2050. It's like a 30-year, 3-decade shift in consciousness, more awareness. So yes, it's all happening. It's coming, slow but sure, as they say, but it is coming. 4, hi, Sterling. A few years ago, I was suffering so much heartache over the loss of my precious little dog who died tragically. I was shopping and very upset when a man who I didn't know came up to me and started talking to me. He then pointed at a magazine, and the magazine read, "Kisses from Heaven." He smiled, then he went. Was this an angel or just some kind gentleman? Well, here again, this is an earth angel, but it was an earth angel, a real human being that has the life path purpose of facilitating very directly requests from other angels on the other side. So this is an earth angel working with one of your birth angels to give you that message. They knew you're in grief. So kind of a nice sharing of ability, or I'll call it an effort from the other side to this side. Earth angels are very effective at kind of facilitating directly in a human state what angels on the other side want to convey. And so your birth angels felt you needed that support. Number 3 in the countdown. My question involves the seeding of the earth. Did more than one alien species seed the earth and could be looked at as a giant social experiment to see if one day we could all come together and get along. Well, yes, absolutely. Over 100 extraterrestrial species seeded the Earth. That's where a lot of us came from. And it is one giant experiment, but it's going to go on for millions of years. And it has been going on for millions of years. So, yes, it's all part of kind of an extraterrestrial with hundreds of species being involved. Number 2. So those that watch the channel know that when I get down to the final 2 questions, number 2 and number 1, I try to take notes before the show just so we can kind of go through these and I don't miss any of the facts that have come up. So number 2, do you see anything coming up this week? I do see some landslides in California. It looks like central to Northern California. I do see a large FBI sting operation of terrorist cells being uncovered in the US and Canada, and there's some linkage over to Europe. So there's a large FBI sting operation that we're gonna hear about. Power grid problems coming up for Texas. So something happening here in Texas with another power grid problem. A train accident in Europe. New releases of information from the UK on inside problems with, unfortunately, Harry and the royal family. Ongoing fights over new rules in the U.S. House of Representatives. So it looks like some ongoing fights we're going to get dredged through for the coming week. There'll be a motive uncovered or more detail for the Moscow 4 murders, Moscow, Idaho. So I've talked about what the murders were before in prior shows, and it looks like it was had more to do with some sort of a social interaction and a bullying, and something happened here with a direct connection. But it looks like there'll be more information, the motives uncovered and released to the public in the Moscow 4 murders. And then a sudden loss of life for a public figure, but it looks like an accident to me. So it's a sudden loss of life, and I always hate seeing these things. Well, my team brought this up this morning, so I'm conveying it for you and offering up here on the show. And number 1 in this show that's being recorded for January 8th, 2023. If you have anything your guides want to share, push forward with a clear manifesting vision for the world as well as your own life. Own the results, because you can make it all happen whatever time frame you desire. So on that note, we'll conclude the show here for January 8th, 2023. Again, for those who need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the Book a Session tab. I want to wish everybody a wonderful Happy New Year here in 2023, sending out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. See you soon.